So let's now answer our first illustration, and that is on acquisition of biological assets. So here, we're required to prepare the journal entries for each of the following independent scenarios. So we have three. 1, 2, and 3. Let's take number 1. Cantarella Farm acquired 40 one-year-old cattle for milk production at 25,000 each. So, 25,000 each, ano yan? Purchase price natin for the 40 units of cattle. So, that's 40 units of cattle multiplied by 25,000. We would get a total amount of 1 million. Alam mo na kaagad magkano ibinayad natin. That's credit to cash of 1 million. However, the following information would be provided as well. The current fair value of these animals were 27,000. So ano ibig sabihin nito? 25,000 lang ang bili pero 27,000 actually ang bentahan ngayon sa market. So nakatipid ka. Why? It's maybe because you bought 40 of them instead of just one. Naka-discount ka na malaki. So 27,000. However, if we would like to sell this right now, we would be required to expend 1,000 pesos for each animal in cost to sell. So, again, ano-ano ang mga cost na to? This could be broker's fee, this could be levies from regulatory agencies, this could be transportation. Any. So that's that. 1 million ang binayaran. Pero kung i-compute natin ngayon, what would be the fair value less cost to sell of these animals? It should be 27,000 minus 1,000 each multiplied by 40 units. 1,040,000. So compare that. 1,040,000 initial recognition pero binayaran mo lang ay 1 million. What's the difference? 40,000. It shall be charged immediately to profit or loss or gain on initial recognition of biological assets. The entry for the first case is a debit to biological assets, 1,040,000, credit cash, 1 million, and their difference is simply a gain on initial recognition of 40,000. Take note guys, biological assets are not accounted initially at cost. They are accounted initially at fair value less cost to sell. So, ang cost natin ay only 1 million. It is different from the fair value less cost to sell. That's the first lesson that you should know. Moving on to the next item. Now, Marigold of Maribor acquired biological assets for a total price of 1 million. So, same cost, 1 million. But the fair value less cost to sell this time is 950,000. So, yung kanina, meron tayo 1,040,000 initial FVLCTS. Pero this time, 950 lang ang FVLCTS, which means that mas mataas ang ibinayad natin kaysa sa value ng asset na natanggap. So, in the opposite. Answer to the second item, biological asset can only be debited for 950,000. You paid cash of 1 million. And so, you will recognize a loss on initial recognition of biological assets. Actually, this description is incomplete. It should be of biological assets. Pero I don't know kung sino gumawa ng handout na to. Tamad masyado kumpletuhin yung entry. Ano? Wala tayong magagawa. Third, Sige Ruben paid the following on his startup of Dijkstra Farms. Purchase price of 100 units of cows. Binili at 1 million. So you have purchase price 1 million. It has a fair value less cost to sell of 1,100,000. You know the drill. However, in addition, you also have here cow feed, supplements, and salaries of farmhands. All of this should be accounted for as expenses. All related costs in agricultural activity except for purchase price are recognized in profit or loss. So ito lahat expenses. However, the 1 million purchase price shall be attributed to initial cost of your biological asset, not an expense. The entries for the third requirement, debit biological asset, its fair value less cost to sell. Credit, cash, the amount you paid. And 100,000, their difference is a gain on initial recognition of biological assets. Salaries expense, this is for salaries of the farmhand. Supplies expense, now the combined cow feed and supplements, for a total cash payment of 1,570,000. So that's acquisition. Lesson to be learned here, dalawa. Not at cost, but at fair value less cost to sell, biological assets ha. And second, all costs related to biological assets are expensed immediately, unless it's a purchase of additional biological assets. Second illustration. This time to demonstrate gain on change in fair value. Requirements. For the year 2020, what amount of gain on change in fair value will be presented in the income statement? So ano to? Changes in fair value lang. Simply a comparison of your initial recognition and subsequent recognition. And then what portion of the gain is attributed to price change and physical change? This problem is designed in a way to illustrate the gain on change in fair value in a simple manner. So this is going to be easy. First requirement. Public limited company, Ellen Rhiannon, produces milk on its farm. As of January 1, Ellen has a stock of 1,050 cows. 1,050, average age of 2 years old. No animals were born or sold during the year. The unit values less estimated cost to sell were, okay, these three figures are prices at a point in time. And then they are already net of any cost to sell kasi less estimated cost to sell. Values less cost to sell. I'm sorry, I forgot to edit this. This should be fair values, ano? Fair values less cost to sell. For number 1, these are the figures that you should be comparing. 2 years old, January 1, right? So, initially, ang valuation natin is at 4,000 each. That's the January 1 carrying amount of your cattle, cows. However, on December 31, ang 2-year-old na animals magiging 3 years old na, di ba? So, from 4,000 each, magiging 5,000 na. From 2-year-old, naging 3-year-old. There is an increase of 1,000 per unit. Multiply natin by 1,050 cows. There is an increase in value of 1,050,000 for these cows. So that should be your answer for gain on change in fair value. Your solution for the first requirement, 5,000 less 4,000 increase multiplied by the number of animals held, gain on change in fair value, 1,050,000. Next requirement, price change. Price change, ano yun ulit? Assuming there is no growth, magkano ang increase in value? Let's just say the 2-year-old animals did not grow at all. So magkano ang magiging difference in pricing? January 1, meron tayong carrying amount na 4,000, right? Pero a 2-year-old animal on December 31 is already at 4,500. So that means meron tayong increase in value of 500 per unit. So that's 4,000 going to 4,500 increase. So that's 500 difference, right? Multiplied by 1,050. That's the units of cows we have. 525 is our gain due to price change. Diretsuhin na natin. Physical change naman, magkano yung gain that can be attributed to biological transformation? So the physical change will be accounted like this. From 4,500, naging 5,000. You would only compare, for physical change, you would only compare year-end values. So, It's connecting. Parang hinati mo lang ang gain on change in fair value into two. Okay, pero price change and physical change, they are not required to be presented in the financial statements. Number 1 lang ang required. 2 and 3 are only disclosures. And to that extent, they are only optional, encouraged by the standard. Your solution for price change and physical change should follow. So you have your initial value of the animals. Compare that to the same age on December 31 for price change. Increase of 500 multiplied by the number of animals held, you get 525 as price change. On the other hand, physical change only uses December 31 values because it only measures change in fair value due to biological transformation. So, 2-year-old animal on December 31 and 3-year-old animal on December 31. That is an increase again of 500. Coincidentally, magkapareho ang change natin. So, magkapareho ang gains. Together, added, itong dalawang to, that should be equal to your gain on change in fair value. Now, for the last problem for today, we will be having a problem that has the same requirements as the previous one, but with more complications than, of course, the previous. So this one still asks us, magkano ang gain on change in fair value, magkano ang price change, and then magkano ang physical change. This is for the year 2020, December 31, okay? So, here. In this problem, you have multiple categories of animals. So, in order for us to do this in an organized manner, I will be providing you a solution guide in order for you to better formulate your answers. Kasi if you would only do this haphazardly, it would take a lot of your time, especially if you are a little bit on the weaker side in organizing data. So, before anything else, kailangan muna alamin natin ano ang given. Here, classification of animals. January 1, you have 450 cows. They are all 2 years old. You have 150 heifers, averaging 1 year old. Cirilla also purchased 375 heifers with an average age of 1 year old, but this time it's in July. Okay, let me stop there. Maybe you are tempted right now na, sir, they are both heifers and they are both 1 year old. Can we combine them as into one category only? Answer? No, please don't. Although they have the same age right now, on December 31, they will have a different age category. 150 heifers on January 1 will be 2 years old in December 31. 375 heifers on July 1, that will be 1.5 years old on December 31. So as much as possible, if they are from different transactions, separate them. Okay, 450, 150, and 375, that's all we have right now. But also, 50 animals were born. So you have newborn, July 1, 2020. So meron kang newborn July 1, 2020. Your solution guide. So in order to better organize your data, here is how you should plot them in this solution guide. First, of course, the classes of animals should be listed here, the 4 classes that we identified earlier, together with their quantities. And reminding you na ang requirements po is 3 things: fair value change, price change, and physical change. And in this format, we can get all of them in one go. Okay? Following this, the yellow box is for initial recognition. So for the first 2 categories, the cows and the heifers on January 1, that would be on this side here. Tapos naman, bumili ka ng additional heifers, di ba? And then there is newborn on July. Their initial recognition will be in July. So the first 2 categories in January and the latter 2 categories will be in July. This blue area here, that is for no growth December 31. Why do we have two December 31 columns, sir? Relax. Kasi po, hinahanap din ang price change, di ba? And if you could remember earlier, we solved the problem for price change by assuming there is no growth, di ba? So you would assume na ang January 1, for example, cows, the January 1 cows na 2 years old, hahanapan mo din ng fair value on December 31 na pang 2 years old. In order for you to identify kung nagkaroon ba ng price change ang 2-year-old animals. So that's blue column for no growth December 31. And the green column is for the grown-up fair value. So kung ang 2 years old January 1, 3 years old na dito. Kung ang 1-year-old January 1, 2-year-old na dito, so on and so forth. Okay? Do take note that price change plus physical change would be fair value change. And to get price change, you need to deduct the fair values per unit with the yellow area and the blue area and multiply it with the quantities. Kukuha mo ang price change for individual items. 4. You do the same for the blue area and the green area if you want the physical change. Okay? So let's go ahead and identify the first category. 450 cows, 2 years old. Yellow area. Ano ang nasa yellow area natin? It's 2-year-old, di ba? January 1. Hanapin si 2-year-old January 1 at nandito siya. Yan. For the yellow area, 15,000. Blue area naman, meron tayo no growth. Assuming no growth, December 31. 2-year-old pa rin. So a 2-year-old would be 15,500. And lastly, the grown-up version of this is 3-year-old, di ba? You have that here, 16,000. And if we plot all of these, it would look like this. So yan. Again, just to emphasize, this comparison is for price change, and this comparison is for physical change. So, if I would do some calculations, it would look like this. For cows, 450 cows, 15,000 minus 15,500, an increase of 500. The increase of 500, di ko na ikikiin yung 15,000 kasi alam natin ang increase. Multiplied by the quantity of 450, that would be the price change for the cows. And coincidentally, 500 din ang difference between 15,500 and 16,000. That would give me again a 225 increase due to physical change for a total of 450 fair value change. You get the idea here. Okay, so if I would determine the proper age category for each of these items, we would get the following. So ito po. 2-year-old to 2-year-old, assuming there is no growth. 2-year-old to older version, 3 years old. That's for physical. 1-year-old is to 1-year-old. Pero magkaiba ang date, guys, ha? Newborn, newborn, and newborn, newborn. Newborn 0.5 years old. If I would plot all of the fair value less cost to sell properly, it would look like this. So yan. So we have 4 categories: cows, heifers, and heifers of July, and then newborn. But you might have noticed, sir, there is a 5th category. What is that? Well, actually, that is still the 4th category here. But let me just give you a brief explanation. This is price change. This is physical change here. And the newborn, initially, it had not existed to begin with. During the year, di ba, hindi naman tayo nagsimula on January 1 with newborns. The newborns just existed on July. And we did not pay anything for it, right? Wala naman tayong binayad. So, if I would record the newborn on July, that would be a debit to biological asset of 3,000 times 50. Saan nanggaling yan? Ano credit ko? Wala akong binayad, di ba? My credit to that is gain on changes in fair value. And all of that gain has nothing to do with price. Lahat ng gain na yan po ay purely physical change from 0 to 3,000. Well, actually, the 0 should be on the July column, but it would not make sense kasi baka maisama nyo sa price change. So, nilagay na lang natin siya sa December because it's understood that procreation. Kapag may procreation understand always na from 0 to initial value, that's 0 to initial value, all of it is physical change. And then, the newborn grows up. This is procreation and this is growth. That is the total physical change for the newborn. But then again, the newborn will also have its price change component. Now, that is on the left side. Price. Okay, so much for newborns. Just verify if I have the correct amounts for July, 1-year-old, and December 31, 1-year-old. Magkapareho to kasi pareho silang 1-year-old on January and July, and assuming there is no growth. However, on December 31, this is 2-year-old, this is 1.5-year-old. This is 3-year-old, that is 2-year-old. This is 0.5-year-old, this is newborn. Okay. If I get all my calculations correct, I will arrive at the following answers. So your answers. This is now in computation format. Pero take note guys that all of these computations can be done on your calculators lang. Just use Memory Plus. So for cows, just like what we did earlier, price change, di ba? 225 yon. You can put this in Memory Plus, go down to heifers, 30,000 makukuha mo, Memory Plus ulit, Memory Plus until you get the total price change of 370. Please do verify if I have the calculations correct. Also, physical change have a total of 930,000. Adding them both, I hope they coincide together. Magiging 1.3 yan, silang dalawa. And of course, this is also excerpt from the table. So that's that. That's how you can use this format. But there is another way. Instead of putting unit fair values here, you can instead multiply them with the quantities and show a different solution like this. So what I did here is I simply eliminated the quantities and multiplied them with the unit fair value less cost to sell, and that's what I used. So itong apat na to, their total is 13,725. Itong apat na to naman, ang total nila is 14,095. And itong limang to, their total is 15,025, giving me their differences of price change and physical change as follows, and fair value change. So that's that guys for PAS 41 Agriculture. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope you learned something. I hope magagamit mo to in your future studies. And I will see you again soon enough. We will be on to our next topic. Bye!